The town of Gray Hollow was a picture of pastoral perfection, nestled snugly between rolling hills and dense woods. Every year, the townsfolk celebrated Easter with unmatched fervor. The centerpiece of the festivities was the annual egg hunt in the town park, a tradition so cherished that people from neighboring counties would flock to witness it. But this year, something was different. A weight hung in the air, as though the town itself was holding its breath. Whispers spread among the children, stories of a strange bunny that didn't belong in the colorful brochures or the cheery advertisements. Not the fluffy, lovable mascot parents brought to life every year, but something much darker. Tom didn't believe in town gossip. A journalist by trade, he had seen how quickly small-town rumors could blossom into hysteria. Still, as he walked through the park to cover the festivities, he couldn't shake the sensation that something was watching him. The day unfolded as it always did, with children darting around the park, squealing in delight as they plucked eggs from bushes and trees. Parents lounged on picnic blankets, basking in the warm spring sun. Tom snapped photos of smiling families and pastel-painted eggs, occasionally jotting notes about the vibrant community spirit. But as the shadows stretched longer, a disquiet settled in. Tom caught fleeting glimpses of something moving at the edges of his vision. A flash of white fur here, a flicker of movement there. It could have been an overeager child in a costume, but something about it felt wrong. He wandered closer to the edge of the forest, camera in hand, when he saw it. A figure, tall and impossibly still, stood partially hidden behind a tree. Its fur was matted, streaked with mud and something darker. Long ears drooped unnaturally, and its eyes. They seemed to glow, faintly amber against the growing twilight. Tom raised his camera, but by the time he focused, the figure was gone. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. He developed the photos he'd taken, flipping through images of laughing children and blooming tulips. Then he stopped. In one photo, taken near the forest line, the figure was there, blurry but unmistakable. Its eyes seemed to burn through the grainy image, even in black and white. He felt an inexplicable pull to investigate further. Something about the creature gnawed at him, a mix of curiosity and dread. Tom began digging through the town archives, uncovering a story that had faded into obscurity. Decades ago, a man named Elias Hopper had lived on the outskirts of Gray Hollow. Known for his love of Easter, Elias had hosted elaborate egg hunts for the town's children. But after a child went missing during one of his events, suspicion fell on him. The search party found no evidence, but the damage was done. Elias was ostracized, and soon after, he disappeared. Some said he moved away. Others whispered that he had taken his own life in despair. The forest, locals claimed, had absorbed his sorrow. Tom wasn't one for ghost stories, but something about the tale unsettled him. The missing child had never been found. What if? No, it was absurd. Yet, the thought refused to leave him. Over the next few days, reports trickled in. Families found strange eggs on their porches, much larger than the plastic ones used in the hunt. When cracked open, they revealed bizarre contents: scraps of cloth, shards of bone, or tufts of hair. The sheriff dismissed them as elaborate pranks, but the town's unease grew. Tom decided to investigate the forest himself. Armed with a flashlight and his camera, he ventured out under the cover of darkness. The woods were unnervingly quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves. As he moved deeper, he found a trail of oversized footprints, each marked by deep claw impressions. They led him to a clearing bathed in silvery moonlight. There, in the center, was a massive nest made of twisted branches and dead grass. And surrounding it were eggs, hundreds of them, painted in pale, sickly colors. Tom approached cautiously, his breath shallow. The eggs weren't eggs at all. They were skulls meticulously decorated, their hollow sockets staring into the night. A sound behind him made him whirl around. There was the bunny, taller than he'd imagined, its fur filthy and clumped. Its eyes glowed with malevolent intelligence, and its teeth, sharp and yellowed, curled into a grin. Looking for eggs? It rasped, its voice a guttural mockery of warmth. Tom froze, his mind racing. The creature tilted its head, as if studying him, then took a step closer. "You're not part of the hunt," it continued, claws flexing as it cradled its grotesque basket. "But perhaps you could be." The journalist turned and ran, branches clawing at his clothes and face. He didn't stop until he burst into the open park, gasping for air. He looked back, expecting to see the bunny in pursuit, but the woods were still. The following morning, Tom tried to warn the townspeople. He showed them the photos he'd taken of the clearing and the nest, but the images were blank. The skulls, the eggs, even the bunny, it was all gone. The egg hunt went on as planned, though a palpable tension hung over the event. When the day ended, a few families realized their children hadn't returned. Panic spread, search parties formed, but no trace of the missing was ever found. Tom left Gray Hollow soon after, unable to shake the memories of what he'd seen. Yet, every spring, he would wake in the dead of night to find an egg at his doorstep. Always large, always warm to the touch. He never opened them, instead burying them deep in the woods, far away from his home. Years later, Gray Hollow was abandoned, its residents driven away by whispers of disappearances and sightings of a towering figure in white. The park fell into disrepair, overtaken by weeds and silence. But in the stillness of the forest, if you listen closely, you can hear the rustle of branches and the faint, echoing chuckle of a creature still hunting, still collecting. The Easter Bunny of Gray Hollow never stopped its hunt, and it never will.